Welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. Great to be with you and completing our first week of this beautiful and powerful portion, Vayeshev. And let's begin by, as always, by setting our intention, setting our consciousness. The reason why we do this study is not for what we learn, although actually today we also will learn a few interesting things, but it's really for the light we connect to, the consciousness we awaken, and the changes that we make. So we're meditating that through this study. We are awakening the light of our soul, connecting to the tree of life reality, the flawless universe, connecting to the limitless love that exists within us. Creating a space within us is, again, this week is the portion of Truma, where we create a space for the Creator's limitless light to be awakened within us. Help reveal that in the world. So we're meditating to awaken that light in all the areas that we need change, and thinking of others we want to share this light with, appreciating the great merit to have access to this light, to have access to this wisdom, to get to be part of this, to help share it. And with that simplicity of our desire, we will now do the prayer of the Ari to open up our hearts and support our connection. ריבון העולמים ואדוני האדונים אב הרחמים וסליחות מועדים מנחם לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו מגידה ושחמש הקרבתם לתורתך ולעבודתך בקודש ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה ואנו מחיינו אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה על כן אנחנו מקפידים תחנוננו לפניך שתמחל ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו ואל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לבניך וכן יהיה זוכרנו אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך ותקשיב אוזנך להתבונן ותפתח לבבינו הערה בשדות תורתך ויהיה למדנו זה נחת רוח לפני כיסך ולך לקח ניחוח ותאציל עלינו עומק כל נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו ושתנוצצו ניצוצות עבדיך הקדושים אשר ידע גילית את דבריך על העולם וזכותם וזכות אבותם זכות אבותם ותורתם וקשתם יעמוד לנו לנגש בדבר מלך ובזכותם תאר עינינו ומה שאנו לומדים כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל גל עיני והביט הנפלא מתורתך כי אדוני ייתן חוכמה מפי ודעת ותבונה יהיו לרצונים מפי והגן מלפניך אדוני צור וגואלי. So here we are, chapter 3 of Vayeshev. Trying to see where it ends. Yeah, we're not going to finish this chapter today, but we will make some good progress. So chapter 3 is titled, For the work of man shall he pay back to him. So let's begin. Chapter 20, paragraph 25. Rabbi Chia patach ve'amar. Rabbi Chia opened and said, לכן אנשי לבב שימו לי חלילה לאל מרשע ושדי מעוור. כי פועל האדם ישלם לו, ובאורח איש ימציאנו. This is from the book of Job, chapter 34, verses 10 and 11. Therefore, men of understanding, listen to me. Wickedness be far from God, wrongdoing from Shakai. And here's the verse that we're discussing in the portion in this chapter. Ki fo'al adam yishalem lo. For God, pays mortals according to their actions. Ki fo'al adam yishalem lo. Uch ish yamsienu. And provides for people according to their conduct. And provides for people according to their conduct. It's fine. Tachazeh, come and see. When the Creator created this world, Al avad le al dina. He created this world from a place of judgment. V'al-dina itkayam. And this world exists based on judgment, based on cause and effect, based on perfect order. V'chol avadim de'alma inun kaimin bedina. And everything that happens in this world is all governed by judgment. Begin lakaima alma velayit avid. But in order for the world not to be destroyed, Pares ale rachame. The Creator spreads over the world mercy. Ve'inu rachame me'akve ledina, and this mercy delays the judgment. It tempers the judgment. Delay ishtetze alma, for the world not to be destroyed. Ve'al rachame it naheg alma v'itkayim begine. And therefore the world is actually governed with mercy, and that's how it is sustained. So this is the Zohar is revealing an ancient understanding, ancient teaching that the Ari speaks about a lot, and it's mentioned in the Zohar, and other Kabbalists speak a lot about it. That originally the Creator created this world with judgment, midat hadin, from the left column of judgment, and because the world could not survive, humanity and the entire world could not survive, so the Creator decided to, as it says here, put a blanket of judgment, of mercy, create create an alternative energy in the world that we can handle the judgment, and that's how we live. So while there is judgment in this world, it's not pure judgment. For example, pure judgment would be if a person steals, their hand would fall off, right? Or if a person does something negative, they would immediately die. If a person only received what they deserve, we would deserve nothing. Every breath we receive is mercy. Every life that comes into this world with negativity is really mercy. The fact that we continue to exist, because if it was purely based on merit, if it was purely based on a perfect justice system, none of us would survive. So that's why mercy had to be introduced, so that humanity could exist, so that the world could exist. Obviously, there are deeper understandings and meanings to this, but this is just a basic level, so we can understand what the Zohar is saying here. Paragraph 26. If you're going to say that a person receives judgment without justice, a person experiences negativity in an unjust way, Ha'itma, we've said, the chadina shaya alei devanash, when judgment resides upon a person, kadiu zakah, when he is a righteous person, when he's a tzaddik. Why does a tzaddik experience judgment? Why does someone who's on the spiritual path, connected to the Creator, living by the spiritual laws of the universe, why do they still experience judgment? Begin rechimuta de kutchabrichu be'a'ihi. The Zohar says something kind of crazy. Because of the Creator's great love for this tzaddik, this person experiences judgment. Kama deitmar, as we've learned, when the Creator loves someone, and wants to bring him closer, metaba gufa, the Creator will break his body, consciousness, begin the shalta nishmata, in order for his soul to be in control. And therefore that person comes close to the Creator with love, in a fitting way, as it should be. And the soul is in control, and the body is weakened. The Zohar here is introducing a very important fundamental understanding of living a spiritual life and our relationship with the Creator, and what true spirituality looks like. People think that God does good things for good people and bad things for bad people. That's a very childish way to see the Creator. It's a very religious way to see life. And I don't mean religious in a good way. I mean religious in a shallow way. Because the Zohar here is revealing that it's not a question of suffering. When a person goes through pain, Pain is not punishment. There is no punishment. There is growth. When a person goes through challenges, those challenges are not there to bring the person down. They're there to strengthen the person. And where does our strength come from? Does our strength come from our wealth? Does our strength come from our respect? Does our strength come from how adored we are? Does our strength come from how much control or power we have? The Zohar says no. Your strength comes from your soul. And sometimes to reveal your soul, everything else has to be stripped away. Sometimes if I don't reveal my soul on my own, then I need help to focus on what's real. I need everything stripped away so that I can experience the light of my soul. So that the light of my soul can shine as it should. Now here the Zohar is saying that the Creator will only do this to the people the Creator loves most. Why? Because it's not about the physical body being broken, as the literal words of the Zohar. Sometimes also that happens, right? But it's more about the consciousness of the body. Consciousness of the body. Now, this is where the tzaddikim are different than us, because the righteous understand that as long as my body consciousness, which represents my selfishness, which represents my fear, which represents what distances me, separates me from the light, as long as that consciousness, or to the degree that consciousness is strong, then that's the degree that my soul is concealed, that my great light, my true light, is diminished. So what do the tzaddikim do? Instead of waiting for life to get challenging, they seek discomfort. Seeking comfort comforts the body. Comforting the body strengthens the body consciousness. Now again, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that you should suffer. It doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy life. It doesn't mean that you need to, that you shouldn't enjoy what life has to offer. Absolutely. We should, we can, and we should. But it's about the consciousness of the body. Not allowing the body consciousness, which represents my desire to receive the self alone, my selfishness, to be the force that governs me, to be the force that makes the decisions. That's why, for example, the tzaddikim would seek ways. There are many stories of course, you're right, doing mikveh and ice water, or putting pebbles in their shoes, or different things that sound like self-harm, but it's not about self-harm. It's not about physically harming the body. It's about understanding that the consciousness of the body of selfishness is an illusion. And as long as I live by that illusion will control me. And to the degree that I believe in that illusion, then I don't believe in the reality of my soul. So the Zohar says when the Creator really loves someone, the Creator will assist that person in breaking the illusion of the body. Sometimes we are on the same page, meaning we're also breaking that illusion, or sometimes that illusion needs to be broken for us. Zohar continues, paragraph 27. Uvaya gufa chulsha v'nafsha takifa. A person needs their body consciousness to be weak, to be diminished, but their soul to be strong. Ditakaf bitkifu, to be strengthened and constantly growing stronger, to be strengthened in strength. And then he becomes the beloved of the Creator. Now again, reminding ourselves, it's not that the Creator loves people that suffers. What does it mean to be loved by the Creator or hated by the Creator? The Creator doesn't have any preferences between people. It is a question of affinity. Kabbalah 1. When I am more aligned with my soul, which means when I come from a place of proactivity, when I come from a place of love, when I express the divine godlike nature within me, then I am closer to the light. When my thoughts are aligned with the light, then I am closer to the light. When my thoughts are misaligned with the light, then I'm further from the light. That's what's called to be hated by the Creator. The Creator hates no one. But when I am distant in affinity with the Creator, then I experience the distance, that cold, dark space that I myself created. To be close to the light means, of course, to act like the light. And think about it like this. The Creator's desire is to share endlessly. The Creator's desire is to share endlessly with all. If I am in alignment with the Creator, then that is also my desire. Or if my desire is to also live like that, then I'm aligned with the Creator. But if the Creator desires to share endlessly through me, but instead I become a block to that light, then I'm not in line with the Creator. If light is supposed to flow through me to the world, and instead I selfishly hold on to that light. That's like one of the examples that we explain when the Zohar talks about light being revealed from above to below or below to above. Above to below means that I hoard the Creator's endless light that's supposed to be shared endlessly with other people. That I take divine light and I drag it down into the klipot. So how can we be beloved by the Creator? It's not being I'm going to do the things that religion tells me to do. Everything everything that we are guided to do is not about being loved by the Creator in the sense that we naturally think. It's not about kissing up to God. It's about being in alignment with the Creator. What we are guided to do spiritually is what creates that affinity. That's what the mitzvot are all about. It's not about doing God's will. It's about creating affinity between myself and my soul, between myself and the Creator. Kamada Amru Chavraya, as the friends taught, the Creator, as the friends taught, the Creator gives trouble, gives sorrow to the righteous in this world, in order for them to merit the world to come. Now, here again, this concept of this world and the world to come, suffering in this world or pain in this world, is not about, again, being punished or going through a process of suffering. But this world and the world to come represent the experience of light physically and spiritually. A lot of times, the Zohar is saying that a tzaddik will experience pain in the physical world, physically, feel lack physically, but that gives them a greater spiritual connection. 28. B'chad nishmata chasha, when the soul is weak, v'gufata kifa, and the body consciousness is strong. He is a hated one to the Creator. Again, hated meaning disaffinity. The Creator doesn't desire him. And you know what? The Creator won't even bother with giving him trouble in this world. Everything is smooth. And everything is in a state of perfection and wholeness. Begin to avad tzedakah otivu. Because if this person does any act of tzedakah, of kindness, sharing, or goodness, any good that this person does, he will be repaid, quote unquote, repaid in this physical world. Meaning, he won't have the spiritual benefit of it, he'll just have the physical benefit of it. He has no portion in the world to come. So let's recap that before we continue. When a person's body consciousness is strong and their soul is weak, they are in such disaffinity with the light that actually they could find quote unquote success in this world, but at what cost? If your ego is successful, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that what we're looking for? For the ego to be on top? Is that what we're looking for? For my body consciousness to have to feel good about itself. A person can live through this world and be completely oblivious to their tikkun. Right? Think about it. What are the times in life that we actually are awakened to change? It's not often when everything is perfect. It's in the moments of challenge that I start to think, wait a minute, maybe there's something I need to change. The Creator punishes, quote unquote, punishes people who are disconnected by giving them good things. Think about what's the worst punishment? What's the worst punishment of a person with an addiction, a gambling addiction, let's say? The worst punishment is that they continue to win. Because obviously that's not going to connect them to their soul. But every time they win, they're one step further from actually changing, one step further from actually connecting to the light of their soul and the path of their soul. What's the worst thing that can happen from someone who lives their life according to their ego and self-serving? That it works out because they'll never change, or it'll be much harder for them to change. Or when life does come to guide them, it'll be a much more painful process. If a person, let's say, needs to take a physical hit, maybe financially or whatever, on their health, because they're too guided by their ego. And you know what? The opponent might support this person more on that path because, right? Think about it. If a person had to lose 10% of, let's say 50% of their money in order to help them be awakened. And at the time, they're only worth $100,000. So they had to lose $50,000. Versus a person who, through their ego, has grown to, instead of having 100,000, they have 100 million. It'd be much more painful for a person to lose half of the 100 million than to lose half of 100,000. The messages that try and come in, when they're ignored, they have to come back later. Have to come back later. If our hearts are open, we see the messages and we actually go through the change. But the Zohar here is saying that the Creator will not bring that pain to that person if they're not willing to change. The Creator will not send them those challenges. The opponent is in charge of that person. And the opponent will say, oh, be my slave, come. Let me make you 100 million through negativity. Let me make you 100 million through ego. Let's see where that goes. And as long as the money keeps coming in, that person keeps working. As long as the ego is protected, as long as, look, things are working out physically. I must be on the right path. I must be good. Well, God has blessed me with all this wealth. It's not always God that blesses people with wealth. Sometimes it's the opposite, to keep a person trapped. The pain that we feel is not to make us suffer, but it's to awaken us to change. And sometimes, as the Zohar says, we all do positive things once in a while, right? Even Eliyahu Yardeni gives this example that a person cannot be successful in any way, meaning they won't experience any blessings in life if there isn't some sort of positivity or love, right? Even criminals. Even criminals do things for love or positivity. Not everything, but let's say they have a family they love. So for them, they think they're protecting their family. They're making money for their family, right? There must be some, right? So begin to iu avad tzedakah otivu. Even if a person does good things, kindness or charity or good, the Creator will not repay them on a soul level. The Creator will reveal that light and manifest that light just physically, only physically. Continuing in the Zohar, V'dahu de tirgem unculus, and the great commentator and sage Kabbalist Unculus, he revealed the Aramaic translation and commentary of the Torah, and he quotes the verse from Shalem leson ave gomer, Shalem lesan ohi tavan de'inu negomer. So let's actually read that verse. The verse in Deuteronomy, it says, Shalem leson ave el panav le'avido, but who instantly requites the destruction those who reject him. Lo yachel leson o el panav yishalem lo. Never slow with those who reject him, but requiting them instantly. right? So the verse sounds like a person um, who's disconnected from the light, a person who is rejected by the light, will experience their retribution immediately. But here, Unkelos translates it, and he adds the underlined or bold parts are what he adds to the commentary. Because normally he would translate things directly, but then he would also I forgot to whatever. Um, but he would also add in words to help us understand it. So he says, Shalem nesanohi, he repays his enemies, and then he adds the words, Tavan di'inun avdin kadamohi v'chayahon. He gives them the good that they have done. Le'ovadehon la me'achar ovad tav. He gives it to his face in his own lifetime to destroy him. Lesanohi tavan di'inun avdin kadamohi v'chayahon mishalem lehon. He does not delay the good that he's supposed to have for his enemy, for the good that they have done before him to his face in the lifetime, does repay them. Which means when a person is disconnected, when a person is not on the path of their soul, it doesn't mean they're never going to have good things in life, but it means they're only going to have good things physically. They don't have the blessing behind those good things, and they trade off the light that they're supposed to receive of their soul, the light of the endless that either in this world or after this world. They replace that with a little bit of the shell of a good thing in this physical world. Therefore, the righteous who is constantly broken, the righteous who constantly experiences pain and challenges, he is actually the beloved of the Creator. These words, this is only true when the Creator checks and sees that the person doesn't have any negativity, doesn't have any negativity to need to cleanse. He doesn't find any sin in that person. Zohar continues. These sections, I know they're hard to understand because they're so paradoxical, but hopefully we're having an understanding of it. Do we have time to finish this paragraph? Yeah, let's just do this quickly. 29. We have to look at this in a few different ways. We learn that the light of the Creator, the Shekhinah, the Creator's residing light, doesn't reside in a place of sadness. Rather, the light of the Creator only resides in a place of happiness. Right? Well, this whole introduction is to explain Jacob's state of consciousness, as we'll see. If a person does not experience joy, the Creator's light, the Shekhinah, cannot reside in that place. It says, so in Kings, chapter 2 Kings, chapter 3, verse 15, there's a story of when a few kings, the king of Israel, the king of Judah, the king of I forgot who the third king was. Either way, they come together to go wage war on another kingdom, and they realize that things are not working out. And they call the prophet Elisha, and they ask him to bring a prophecy. And he tells them, "You guys have went on your own. You jumped off the tree and you're asking God for help. What are you guys doing?" He was upset. They said, "No, please help us." So he said, "Okay." He was very upset. He said, "Go bring me a musician. Let him play a song for me, and that will lift my spirits, and then the Creator will be able to rest with me." Because if a person is sad or upset or disconnected, the light of the Creator cannot reside within them. The light of the Creator, the Shekhinah, the light of the Creator cannot reside in a place of sadness. Right? This is again the basic understanding we understand from Kabbalah 1. When we are out of affinity with the Creator, when we are upset, we are angry, when we're reactive, there can be no light of the Creator connected to me. And so where do we know this from? This is our teachers, Minalan. Miyakov, we learn this from Jacob. Since Jacob was depressed, he was sad because he lost his son Joseph. And like we said before, because he lost that light of Chokhmah that we said. The light of the Creator left him. However, once the good news of Jacob came to him, that Joseph was alive, it says that the spirit of their father Jacob was revived. When Jacob came back to a state of happiness, of joy, then the Creator came back to him. And the truth is, it says that when Joseph was lost to Jacob. Jacob was so sad he lost his divine inspiration. For 20 years, Jacob did not have divine inspiration. Jacob could not feel the guidance of the Creator, could not feel the light of the Creator. And the Kabbalists teach it actually. When we read about the story of Jacob and Joseph, and we think that chronologically, if we look at it in the story, it seems that Isaac passes away in the last portion and in Vayishlach, and then here in Vayeshev, it's now Jacob and his life. But actually, historically, chronologically, Isaac was still alive during the time when Joseph was sold into slavery, or the time when Jacob began the mourning process, thinking that Joseph had died. And the commentators explain that actually Isaac knew that Joseph was alive. Isaac still had divine inspiration. He still knew that Joseph was alive. But Jacob was in such a place of darkness, he couldn't accept it. He couldn't. Isaac saw if the Creator did not give Jacob the message, he's not supposed to receive the message. Why did Jacob not receive the message that Joseph was alive? Because he was in the state of sadness. And in the state of sadness, we can't receive messages. We can't receive the Creator's guidance. Same thing with the person who goes through darkness and pain, tzaddik who goes through challenges. He's in the state of weakness. He is pain through different. He's broken through his pain. Anu chedva, where's his happiness? If he's in the state of sadness, he has no happiness. The Zohar is asking a question. A person who goes through challenges and pain, how can he be connected to the Creator? How, if he goes through suffering, how can he actually be guided by the light? We're going to have to continue with the Zohar continues the question of paragraph 30, strengthening the question, and then the Zohar begin to answer it. So we're going to have to wait till Monday for that. But just the simple message. Number one, the pain that you're going through is not punishment. There is no punishment. It's supposed to awaken you to see where your ego is, to see where you are disconnected from the light, and actually transform. And if the Creator is blessing you with a challenge, it's because the Creator believes that there's light to be revealed within you. The Creator doesn't only sends these challenges of pain for what are called the tzaddikim, people who are close to the Creator. And as the Zohar also says, the message is about being in a state of joy, being in a state of certainty, being in a state of connection. When I am in a state of sadness or anger or reactivity, I push away the light from myself and from the situation. So that's where we want to awaken certainty, to know that really this is for my benefit, this is for the light. We're going to go more into it in paragraph 30 and the continuing paragraphs. Rav Ashlag also has a beautiful long commentary about this. But just to leave us with this message before we come to Shabbat. And on Monday, we'll continue with paragraph 30. Lots of love to everyone. Shabbat Shalom. See you soon. And see you on Monday. Shabbat Shalom.